Our politics lead, top Trump officials were set to attend a dinner at the vice president's residence at the Naval Observatory this evening. On the menu, a strategy discussion on how to handle fallout from the administration's own handling of the Epstein files. Now, after intense coverage, officials tell CNN that the dinner is now in flux. In fact, some people in the Trump administration say this dinner was never actually going to happen. Now, we stand by the story here at CNN. Either way, we don't know whether it's ultimately going to be called off or moved to another location, rescheduled. In any case, as we noted, Vance's office denied such a meeting was taking place. The expected attendees, we've been reporting here at CNN, Vice President J.D. Vance, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who recently conducted a 2-day interview with Epstein accomplice and convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, those interviews would be a major talking point as the administration weighs whether to release an audio recording and transcript of Blanche's meetings with Ghislaine Maxwell. A senior Trump official tells CNN that there are more than 10 hours of audio. 3 sources tell us there have also been discussions around Todd Blanche possibly holding a news conference or doing a high-profile interview about this topic, perhaps with podcaster Joe Rogan, who has been highly critical of the administration's handling of the Epstein case. A reminder that not all of these Trump officials have seen eye to eye on every one of these agenda items. Let's just say if the dinner happens, hopefully Susie Wiles would be a buffer sitting between Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. One official tells CNN that some in the White House worry that making the Maxwell interview details public would just further revive the Epstein controversy. So regardless of whether or not a strategy dinner happens, this does seem like a good opportunity for we here at The Lead to try to give the attendees something else to chew on. A sincere message and some notes, if you will, of what I think would help this whole controversy. Number one, put the victims above everything else. Many of you in the administration have been talking about Epstein victims for months, for years. Do you have any relationship with any of the women who were trafficked and abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? This morning, the family of victim Virginia Giuffre issued a statement asking why no survivors had been invited to this dinner meeting. And some members of the family offered to go in Virginia Giuffre's place because she died by suicide earlier this year. They wrote, quote, "The victims' voices must be heard above all." That's the most important thing. Number two, stop acting like we don't know what you're doing. You could all release a bunch of Epstein documents this minute if you wanted to. Remove the names of the victims and do it. Go ahead. Instead, there's all this nonsense about leaving everything up to the court. The House Oversight Committee, led by Republicans yesterday, they're the ones leading the charge on this, issuing subpoenas to the Justice Department for files and information related to Epstein. We know that you can release documents right now. We know that. Number three, please stop acting as if you guys weren't the ones who promised to release these documents. You did. We were paying attention.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office. It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
A truckload of evidence arrived. It's now in the possession of the FBI.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
That's the FBI director. Number four, when and if you release any of these files, beyond the victims, of course, please do not protect any one person. If you're going to release names of Epstein associates who didn't necessarily do anything wrong, but they're mentioned in these files, then release all of those names. If you cherry pick, redact this guy, but not that guy, it's going to be worse. You're going to make it worse on yourselves. You'll extend this whole thing. And of course, people will accuse you of a cover-up because that's what you will be doing. Number five, real transparency. Please don't take this personally. Leaders have proven untrustworthy when it comes to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, going back decades. no one is going to get the benefit of the doubt. So please just release as much and as many of the transcripts as you can, as much of the audio as you can. While you're at it, please explain exactly why last week Ghislaine Maxwell was moved from a Florida prison to a much lower security federal prison camp in Texas. It was an uncommon move. It came right on the heels of her discussions with Deputy Attorney General Blanche. Really fishy looking. No explanation has been given. This is all just getting worse and worse for you. Number 6, in terms of the files, don't forget the Treasury Department documents on Jeffrey Epstein.
Somewhere in the Treasury Department, Mr. President, locked away in a cabinet drawer, is a big Epstein file that's full of actionable information. Follow the money details about his financing and operations that await investigation.
That was Democratic Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon last month. He's not just speculating. Treasury Department officials under the Biden administration actually allowed Wyden's staff to view the files, and Wyden says they contain records relating to more than $1 billion sent to Jeffrey Epstein, plus a lack of timely suspicious activity reports filed by banks handling that money. Why would the banks not do that? He said the Treasury documents show that Epstein used multiple Russian banks to process payments related to sex trafficking. These are potential leads. Follow the money. And finally, our last bit of advice for you on this. Number 7, don't forget what this is about. This is about justice. It defies logic that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are the only 2 people who had knowledge of or involvement in this vast sex trafficking ring, and yet they're the only ones ever brought to justice. So don't you want to bring the full weight of the justice system down upon anyone else who may have had any hand in this hideous sex trafficking ring, many of the victims of whom were children? Don't you? It's hero time. You can be heroes here. All right. That concludes our notes to the Trump officials who may attend any sort of Epstein strategy meeting one way or the other. Just one more tip for any of the guests. If you do go to Vice President Vance's dinner, don't forget to say thank you. He likes it when you thank him.